few days ago on Twitter, I alluded to a recent change in my life, my career. Been a bit of a shift in my lifestyle, let's just say. Those of you that have been watching for a while, that watch my vlogs, know that I work for a local bus company. I'm not going to name them. But they provide a transit-style service for workers at a refinery under construction north of Edmonton. I've been working there for about 15 months or so. Unfortunately, that job had started to wind down quite a lot. People are starting to get laid off, runs are being cut because construction out at the plant was winding down. So rather than just hang around till my name got called and I got cut, I started making some inquiries about other branches of the company. There is a division of the same company working out of a town called Fort McKay, which is in the way north of Alberta. Some of you may have heard of a town called Fort McMurray, which was the subject of the largest fire evacuation in Canadian history. If I'm not mistaken, the largest in North American history, some 70,000, 80,000 families, workers had to be evacuated. Literally the entire city had to be evacuated due to the biggest goddamn wildfire. From what I understand, it's still burning. Like, they never put it out. Like, it kept burning all winter, and it's still going. It's way out away from the city now, so it's not at any risk anymore, but some 80,000 people had to evacuate, and from what I understand, I think there were only 1 or 2 fatalities. A couple of people got into a car accident on the evacuation, but you know, that evacuation was just bonkers. Like, just look at footage and you'll see, like, there's flames like inches from the road. I've driven through there now and seen just the carnage, just the, you know, the wreckage of this just catastrophe. But, you know, Fort Mac, they didn't let it deter them, and the town has started to bounce back. Now, the company I work for has a very, very large division that works directly out of Fort McMurray. I don't work for them. I work for the division that works out of Fort McKay, which is about 45 minutes north, and we service workers at a different refinery. I still live in my house in Edmonton. As you can see, I'm still in my bedroom. But I go up there on a 2-week on, 1-week off rotation. I leave on Wednesday, I work Wednesday afternoon, I work for the next 2 straight weeks until the second Wednesday morning. I finish that shift, and then I leave. Today, in fact, is Wednesday. I just got home 6 hours ago. Yeah, so it's a little different. You know, the actual work is very similar to what I was doing before here in Edmonton, but the fact that it's 14 straight days and the hours are such that it is literally impossible to get 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night, because my schedule is typically, for the last couple of weeks, has been 3:30 in the morning to 7:30 in the morning, and then back at 2:30 in the afternoon to 6:30 in the afternoon. So by the time I finish my trip, get back to the lodge. We live in a work camp. I've lived in camp before, but it's very different from the one I lived in before. This place is huge. Previously, the one that I lived in before had capacity for, I think, about a dozen, maybe 15 people. This one has capacity for over 2,000. And it's in a pretty small footprint, so we're packed in pretty tight. Like, my entire living space is about 2/3 the size of my bedroom. Like, this bedroom chopped into about 2/3, and that's about the size. I've got a little desk, I've got a closet, I've got a chest of drawers, I have a single bed, I have a sink, and I share a bathroom with my neighbor. It's pretty tight quarters. I think each room is about 100 square feet. Give or take. But yeah, by the time I get back to camp, have dinner, wind down a little bit, get to bed, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I've got to be up by 2:30, 3 in the morning. So, you know, you're only getting 6, maybe 7 hours of sleep overnight, and then you're working for 14 straight days. So it tends to wear on you. So yeah, I'm very happy to be home, because that week off that you get, man, you need that to recharge your batteries. Like I said, the job is not hard. Like, literally the hardest thing about this job is just getting up in the morning. You know, driving a bus, driving a big coach, 55 passenger, 45-foot highway coach is not difficult. Like, I can do that practically in my sleep, which is a good thing because, you know, by the end of my second week, I'm pretty zonked out. Now, I've only been going up there for about not quite 2 months. I just finished my third rotation, and since it's 2 weeks on, 1 week off, it's 3 weeks from the start of one rotation to the start of the next. So it's about 6-7 weeks since I started up there. And the pay is good, because you're working 14 straight days, you're getting a lot of overtime, and you're living in camp, so your costs are virtually non-existent. Like, on a daily basis, my budget is $10 to $15, and that's mostly just to buy something to munch on and a bottle of pop for the day. You know, I'll grab a bottle of pop in the morning, bottle of pop in the afternoon, maybe a hot dog and a bag of chips or something. And that's all the money I'm typically spending. And while I'm there, like, I drive up, because it's about a 5-hour drive, 5 and change. Most people fly, because they do offer flights. But where I live in Edmonton, I live on the north side, it's not really advantageous for me to fly. Like, by the time I drive to the airport, which is way south of the city, it's close to an hour's drive for me. You check in, you go through security, you wait at the terminal, you wait on the tarmac, you wait while you're flying, you land and you wait on the tarmac at the other end, you wait on the bus, and then the hour drive from the air terminal to the camp. It's about the same amount of time. It ends up being pretty much a wash. And then once you're there, if you fly, you're stranded. You got no wheels. And I hate being stranded. So I go up in my car so that when I'm there, I can drive. Our bus shop is about, 10 minutes away, and there's a shuttle 3 or 4 times in the morning, 3 or 4 times in the afternoon, each way. But it's only at certain times. And if your trip doesn't line up with those certain times, then sometimes you got to go in way early, or sometimes you got to wait way late until the shuttle starts running again. It's a pain in the ass. So the advantage of going in my car is that I can come and go as I please. Not to mention, I'm not stranded there. In my off hours, I can drive into Fort McMurray. I typically do that once a week. Go pick up supplies, just have a change of scenery. Go to McDonald's, go to Fatburger, go get a different meal. That's not to say that the food in this place isn't really good, which it is. Every Saturday night is prime rib night. Other nights they'll do, you can get burgers or steak or roast pork, or there's a rotating menu. And there's a lot of different food options. The rotating menu, every night there's a special. And then there's a buffet. And then there's the regular options. You can get a burger, or there's a few different kinds of pizza that you can get, or stir fry, or this or that, or this or that. So there's a lot of options, You can just pick and choose off the menu what you want, and it doesn't cost you anything. You get your breakfast, you get your dinner, and then there's they call it the bag up room. You can walk through, and there's coolers full of fruits and vegetables, and sandwiches, and snacks, and treats, and fruit cups, and this and that. There's no end of free food options, soda fountains, and coffee. You're not going to starve living in one of these places, let's just put it that way. But every once in a while, yeah, you just kind of want something familiar. Typically once a week I'll drive into Fort McMurray, the 45 or so minutes each way, go to Walmart, pick up some supplies. There's a comic and hobby shop that's kind of cool that I like to check out. And, sometimes it's just nice to get away and drive around a little bit. Yeah, so that's basically what's been going on. It's been different. It's kind of similar to what I did before up in Lac La Biche a few years ago, but it's definitely a larger scale facility. The work is easier, but it's also harder by virtue of the fact that, it's hard to get a good night's sleep. Yeah, some days you try to doze off and you just can't, and then the next day you end up taking a nap in the middle of the day, and you sleep through all the whole day, and then you can't sleep at night, so you stay up all night, and you're living in such close quarters that, you got to be real quiet. So, every room has a TV, I brought my Xbox with me this time. I've got my laptop, my tablet, so, you know, I've got a ton of stuff to do. But if you're up all night, you gotta be quiet. You gotta keep that volume way down. Because of the hours that we work, we do have a lot of downtime. Most people that are up there, they work a straight shift. It's like 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever. And then they got all night. You know, they got a few hours in the evening, go to bed at 9, and then they sleep until they go to work in the morning. And they just do that for 2 weeks. But for us, because we were 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon, we got like the whole middle of the day with nothing to do. So I've made a point of bringing along a handful of Gundam kits from my stash. You know, bring some tools, bring a few kits, and I just work on one typically a day. My last rotation up, I was working on most of the collection of high-grade Universal Century kits from Shaw's Counterattack. I did the new Gundam, the Sazabi, the Gyune, Yaktdoga, the Jagan, and I did a couple of master grades as well. I can't remember which ones. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, my shed project. Yeah, that's kind of been an aborted project recently, because, yeah, I've been gone for 6 out of the last 9 weeks. So, yeah, I haven't been able to get anything done. We had to clear space in the garage, so a lot of stuff from there just ended up getting shoved back in the shed. Because, yeah, initially I wasn't going to drive, so I was going to keep my car parked in the garage while I was gone. So we needed to clear enough space that I could get my car in there. Ultimately, now, that's not an issue, so now we can start piling stuff back into the garage. I can clear the shed out and finally start demolition. Now, I'm off for the next 6.5 days till I have to be back at work, which is, you know, 6 days of actual time off, because I got a half-day drive ahead of me. But I'm finally going to get started on the demolition of that thing this week. I'm going to clear everything out of it. I'm going to take down that shelf, that kind of shelf table that's way too high, that's built into the wall. I'm going to take out the cabinets at the far end. I'm going to rip out the carpets. This is going to happen, because I'm making enough money up there, along with rental income from my basement and from my condo back home, that I can finally start this project. So if I can get the demolition done this weekend, next weekend when I'm home, you know, in 3 weeks, then I can start picking up supplies and actually start the construction. Do the floors and the drywall that week, and then my next time out, then I can do electrical. Or I guess I'd have to do electrical before they do the drywall, but whatever. Gotta strategize. Hopefully by Christmas I can have it done. And then I'll actually have a place to go and work that's, you know, mine and private and isn't going to be on the living room coffee table. I've got a handful of new Gundam kits that just came in the mail. If I can find the time this week, I will do unboxings of them. They're going to come up to Fort Mackay with me and get assembled up there. Yeah, so if I have time, I will do some unboxings of those. If not, whatever, there's unboxings out there on the internet already. Go to look at dalong.net. There'll be a link down there to that website. Their photo reviews of Gundam kits are just fantastic. If you've never been there, go. It has a translate function. It does the job well enough. Anyway, this went on a lot longer than I wanted it to. So yeah, thank you everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.